is Gale Van Hauen, and turning 18 and becoming an adult bears responsibilities to both family and fellow citizens. Excuse me. Imagine going to a campus polling place and voting for the first time a new president of the United States using your new voter ID card that you just received. And they tell you, no, you cannot vote. You do have your voter ID card and your driver's license, but they will not let you vote at the polling place. These are just some of the infringements that some states have implied against other people in order for them not to vote. Today we will look at some of the specific groups of citizens that are being targeted, laws that states are implementing against people in order for them not to vote, and what we as citizens can do to ensure that all people are exercise their right to vote. Voter suppression laws are targeted against minorities and young adults. In 2012, according to the ACLU, 93% of African American votes were for President Barack Obama. In 2008, all eligible black voters' turnout rate in the presidential election was 65.2%, compared to all eligible white voters' turnout to vote was 66.1%. The surge in the black voter participation in 2008 and 2012 was the cause of increasing women and young black voters at the polls. In 2012, 71% of the Latino vote went to Barack Obama. Latino participation levels have increased 3% each election year since 2004. In 2012, 60 million millennial generation voters who were born between the years 1978 and 2000 turned out to vote and comprised of 29% of all eligible voters in the 2012 election. Young voters continue to relate with the Democratic Party, demonstrating that with a 60% vote going to President Barack Obama. The reason some states passing or proposing these laws is because of their claim of voter fraud practices happening in their elections. I will give you some examples of some of these laws. In 2011, voter suppression laws were proposed in 30 states, and 16 of those states passed them into laws. According to the Department of Justice, voter fraud is the reason states are using to pass these laws, even though none of them have been able to prove that voter fraud is a problem in our country. Wisconsin is one of those states claiming voter fraud in the 2004 election. Out of 30 million votes cast, only 7 were declared invalid. Some states, legislators are just making it difficult to vote, let alone making it difficult to register to vote. In Florida and Texas, for example, they have placed restrictions on nonprofit organizations who help people to register to vote, like the Rock the Vote organization and the League of Women Voters. Some state governments are proposing limits to voting rights by tightening residency requirements, which make it difficult for out-of-state college students to vote. In North Carolina, legislators closed precincts near university and college campuses, and also blocked some students from running for office in the state or in local and county elections. The most common voter-related legislation today is that the individuals must show a government-issued photo ID. More than 1 in 10 voters, which is over 20 million Americans, currently lack these IDs, especially in the big metropolitan areas which people do not even own cars. 25% of African Americans do not have a current and valid government-issued photo ID. We need to make sure these laws are changed so that everyone can exercise their right to vote. Currently, the Department of Justice monitors voter-related practices in all 50 states. The DOJ challenges any practices that are racially discriminatory and take them to federal court. The DOJ also works with states and localities to help them understand the Voting Rights Amendment. And they may even send observers to national elections if they seem necessary. One thing we can do is to vote out local and state primaries and elections, these people that enable these laws. And we can also become active in organizations that help people to register to vote and promote the right to vote on social media. In conclusion, minorities and young adults are only a part of the population having their voting rights diminished, no matter what party affiliation they are in. State and local elections, elected officials out of 30 states implement these tactics by passing this legislation. Laws are being challenged and thrown out, but in order to stop the practices, we need to take action so no more infringements no longer put onto our citizens. Think about it. What will be the effect on all of us if